there we go. All right, my friends. Good morning. How are you? Hey, Craig. How you doing, buddy? Craig, I was thinking I need to get from you, like we got last year, some info and some printed material on the African safari and also on the Illinois hunt for the Trinity dinner, if you don't mind. Thank you again. Paul, good morning. How are you? Hello, Jim. Tim says, please stand by. Tommy, I loved the pictures of your daughter ice fishing. Beautiful pictures. Well, for one thing, she's a beautiful young lady. You should be very proud. And she was holding the fish by herself. I noticed that. I love that. So good job. And I think you probably saw, Tommy, I posted those pictures. There's Uncle Johnny. Good morning, Uncle Johnny. How are you? My brother. Mad Jack, nice to have you along with us. Happy Ash Wednesday to you, Tim. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate that. Paul says we might touch 60 today and 30 Saturday. Paul says stormy in Presque Isle. Let me get over to Instagram. I can never see the comments on Instagram. I enjoy Instagram because I think the comments on Instagram are much more positive than they are on Facebook. Facebook tends to bring out the worst in people from what I've seen, at least in my experiences. But my audience is so much bigger on Facebook than it is on Instagram, basically almost 10 to 1. I'm trying to grow the Instagram audience, but they don't make it easy. At least they don't make it easy to do live streams. If I want to share my live stream with multiple destinations, Instagram doesn't like that. They make it very, very hard. So, for example, right now I want to go over to Instagram and see the comments. I can't. So if you are commenting on Instagram, I apologize. Cliff, good morning. Hello, Judy. How are you? Mike, how are things in Arizona? You did see that. Excellent. Roy says this weather has you thinking about spring fishing. That's all I've been doing is thinking about spring fishing and turkey hunting. Roy. Bernie, good morning. Dean, how are you? Minnick Outdoors on YouTube. Minnick Outdoors, I don't recognize your name. Good morning. How are you? Tell me a little bit about your channel. Oh, that's Nick. That's Michigan Nick. Why is the live feed dead? Only seems to be for you. Jason, good morning. That's Michigan Nick. That's Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand. Well, coincidentally, Nick, and I know this is upside down because I cut it on the wrong side. Look what we're eating in the studio this morning. Now, look, I know it's upside down, but I don't want the juice to run out. Bear sticks, snack sticks from Michigan Brand, from My Bear. That's what we're eating in the studio this morning. So thank you. Oh, it smells so good. To Nick Grillo, Michigan Nick Outdoors. That's who that is. You got to love Nick. You got to love the whole Grillo family. They're just great people, great products. Why is the live feed dead this morning? If it's dead, how come you can see it and comment on it, Ed? Jason, good morning, Cap. How are you? I was talking to Jason earlier. I wanted to know how the ice is on Saginaw Bay. He said yesterday it was pretty good still. We're getting an absolute downpour in Saginaw right now. We'll see how the ice holds up. And are we getting toward the end of the Saginaw Bay ice fishing season? Mickey, good morning. Craig, how are you? TJ, supposed to have ice rescue training here in Jackson this Saturday, but with the warm temps and rain, I'm not sure we'll have any ice left. It is a great breakfast, Nick. And then also what I did, I brought in some packages of frozen bear brats. I can't reach them right now. I brought in a package for John Dent. I brought in a package for Charlie Rood, and I brought in a package for Art Lewis. But they're going to take those home because they're frozen. And then the snack sticks. MichiganBrand.net, MichiganBrand.net. Use the promo code Mike20, save 20% off the entire order. Now, the promo codes, those are getting to be, I got some more comments here. They're getting more and more valuable. As an illustration of this, we are no longer doing a Rapid River Knife Avery promo code. Because it got out of control. I don't want to get into Chris's business. I'm not going to talk numbers, but it got out. If you did a search on Michigan brand promo codes, the Mike Avery promo code showed up, and it was used a whole bunch of times, and it cost a whole bunch of money. So the promo code is going to be used more sparingly this year. We're still going to do it, but we're going to do it at certain times. And we're going to do it for like a week at a time and make them really special. So, Nick, I appreciate the promo codes. Morning, Mike. How are you? Yes. Dennis saw a skunk Sunday. I saw my first skunk Sunday in Midland. I was going to stop and shoot some video of it or shoot some pictures of it, but it was on the freeway and it was right on the curve. And I thought, if I try to stop right here and get some pictures of this skunk, I'm going to end up smucked on the freeway like the skunk was, and it wasn't worth it. Now, as you know, my ultimate sign of spring is when the red-winged blackbirds come back. Well, Craig says he saw one yesterday. Excellent. Ed says, we need that in Port Sanilac. What do you need in Port Sanilac, Ed? Tom says, ice fishing is great on mullet and burt this year. Jim, I'll be looking rivers and drains this afternoon. Looks like field tile starting to run. Brian, good morning. How are you? Terry Moore. How you doing, my friend? Terry says, I love the fact you sometimes promote Michigan products on your program. I always promote Michigan products on my program, Terry. That's what keeps me in business, is Michigan-based, family-owned products. Nice to have you along with us, Terry. Terry, a good friend of mine for many, many years. Very well-known person in the area that I live. Has done so much for the community and people in the community. I think of all the people I've been blessed to know and work with, I've never known anybody to be a better person than Terry Moore. And Terry always ends his conversations with, what can I do for you? And he means it. What can I do for you? Terry, that doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you for being along with us. I do certainly appreciate it. How is your turkey population this year, Terry? Do you have birds? Not that I'm looking to come out and hunt, but as we've talked about before, the turkey population is down across much of the state. Kevin says it's freezing rain in West Branch this morning. So what you're telling me, Kevin, is it's going to be a little while before we get out on the golf course? Mickey, what are your thoughts on the DNR purchase of the property up north? I have none. I haven't thought about it. I haven't looked at it. And I don't mean that as a cop out, but people ask me often about what my thoughts are on topics. And I'll be honest with you, I can't keep up on every topic going on in the state. So rather than give you, I'll be honest here. Rather than give you a half-assed comment that I haven't thought about or researched, I'll just tell you that I don't have any thoughts on it because I don't know. And if I don't know, I'm better off just to tell you, I don't know. DJ saw his first skunk. Dennis's mine was dead. Deb, my cousin Deb, yes, the skunks are indeed out, but do you have any red-winged blackbirds showing up yet? Ed says, send Michigan brand meats to Will's Market in Port Sanilac. I will guarantee you, Ed, that there are Michigan brand meats in your area, and here's how you find out where they are. If you go to the website michiganbrand.net, that's michiganbrand.net, on the landing page, the home page of that website, there's a button near the top that says Store Locator. Click on the Store Locator button, put in your zip code, and it'll tell you the stores near you and what products those stores carry. MichiganBrand.net, MichiganBrand.net, store locator button. Ed, good morning, buddy. How are you? Jim, nice to have you along with us. Robert, walking some public land looking for turkey sign, deer sheds, maybe try to get a squirrel or two. Sounds like a good morning. Stay dry, Robert. Mike, good morning. Ed says he saw 6 robins in Port, where did you say you're at? Port Sanilac? I don't put a lot of faith in robins because I've seen robins, I think, 11 months of the year. So robins to me don't mean much. Craig says, the Avery banquet is the true indication spring is coming soon. Well, yeah, and our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction is Saturday, March 7th. We have some tickets left. We will sell out. If you go to one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor 2026, you can get your tickets. That's kind of a cumbersome way to do it. Maybe easier. Send me an email to Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com, and I will send you the link to get them. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. What I'm not looking forward to, well, it's going to be a short night for me because Denise and I are heading down to Florida the next day to watch my granddaughter Addison play ball. Sandhill cranes are making their way back. Time to have a season on them. I agree, Hunter Joe. There's no reason. There is no biological reason we don't have a season on sandhill cranes here in Michigan. The reason we don't is there is not the desire within the DNR to make it happen. The DNR, like anybody, any agency, any organization, has to pick its priorities. And you can only do so much. I think the Michigan DNR Wildlife Division right now is far more interested in putting its resources towards CWD, chronic wasting disease. Or the recent moose research. There's just not the will in Lansing to get a sandhill crane season in place. The original podcaster, Ed, to this, and Ed, I thank you for saying that. I find it interesting. The confusion, it's not confusion. The misunderstanding between what's a podcast and what is a radio show, what's a broadcast. And, you know, to this day, I'll have people say, hey, I heard your podcast. Good job. And I'm like, well, thank you. Where did you hear it? Oh, I heard it on WSGW. If you heard it on WSGW, it wasn't a podcast. It was the broadcast version of the radio show. It's confusing for most people, but not for people like Art Lewis, who's been in the business forever. What did you think of that bear stick, Art?
Oh, yummy.
It was good?
Yeah.
That was done for me by Michigan Brand Meats, and Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand is on with us this morning. And Art, you should know that one of our prizes in the live auction is a year's supply of Michigan Brand Meats to the high bidder.
I'm prepared.
Well, Art's going to be there to try to win guns, and he will win guns. Jay, good morning, buddy. How are you? Jay, does it feel good to get the sturgeon chivalry behind you? I know how much work goes into those, and you're getting ready to head over to Africa. How exciting is that? Carl, good morning. Paul, less than 3 weeks, we spring forward. See, that's part of my concern, is that Saturday, March 7th, our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction, and I will be emceeing that event, which I dearly love. It's a blessing to be able to do that for Trinity and to raise funds for Trinity. But it is a very tiring evening for me mentally and physically. Usually I take the next Sunday and just stay on the couch and watch TV and just crash. Not this year. I think we've got to be in Flint at the airport like at 5 a.m. Plus, we spring forward that night, as you said, Paul, so we lose an hour's sleep. So it's going to be, that's what I look like on Sunday. Ted, good morning. How are you? Brandon, Lake St. Clair is hot with perch being caught in 2 to 5 feet of water on beaded spoons, and perch spearing has been very good. Thank you, Brandon. TJ, when is the next Wednesday night live at the Lumberjack? It is Wednesday, April 15th. Wednesday, April 15th. We will start taking reservations March 1st. Doug Ward, good morning, buddy. How are you? Doug, Captain Doug of Express Charters. Express Fishing Charters? Express Charters. Another one of our live auction items is a salmon fishing trip on Lake Michigan with Captain Doug Ward. It's a wonderful event. And we have support from so many wonderful companies and people. Eric says, good morning. I get excited. Then I realize it's Michigan and we'll have winter in April. Paul, did you register to attend convention and have you received confirmation of? I did register. And I think I received confirmation. I also got a room for that night. What Paul is talking about is Outdoorama and MUCC's convention, which is this weekend in conjunction with Outdoorama. I'm debating, Paul, whether I'm going to stay Saturday night or whether I'm going to come home. If we were all staying at the same hotel like we did last year up at Treetops, where you could get together and have a beer and shoot the breeze with people, I would definitely stay. But since everybody's staying in different hotels this time, after the banquet Saturday night, I might well be just heading home. Shelby Avery, my daughter, Shelby Avery Esquire, by the way. The Sandhill Cranes terrorize our neighborhood, but Bob loves them. Bob Bodie, affectionately known as Typhoid Bodie, because for the first time this morning, I can actually somewhat breathe, but I still have my nasal spray. I love Bob Bodie, but Bob started daycare, and so he picks up everything, and he brings it home, and he gives it to his mom and dad, and so Bob's sick for like a day. His mom and dad, Shelby and Aditya, are sick for a couple days, and then Grandma and Grandpa are sick for a week. Shelb, are the Sandhills, 3 minutes? Thank you. Are the Sandhills back in your neighborhood now? Are you seeing them now? And Shelby, I'm so excited about that project that you and Aditya have going that we were talking about last night, and you know what I'm talking about. It is, it's going to happen. It's going to happen very quickly, and you're going to do very well. Andrew, good morning. Scott, in reference to your message yesterday, yes, one hunt. Okay, I had sent Scott Hand a text yesterday asking him if he was willing to do another doe hunt for the Michigan youth season for the Trinity dinner. And he said, yes, he will do one doe hunt. And I will guarantee you, well, I don't know, are the Hurley kids young enough to still be involved? If so, the Hurley family will bid on those. Steve, good morning. It has, Paul. Okay. Jay Woderski is with Sturgeon for tomorrow. And they were putting on the big Sturgeon Chivalry in conjunction with the Sturgeon spearing season last weekend or 2 weekends ago. It was 50 to 60 degrees all weekend. John, good morning. How are you? Good morning, Mike. Stranded on a gravel road with a semi in Harrison. Very icy, waiting for a county sand truck. Corey, I'm doing well. The question is, how are you? All right, Mad Jack, get back at it. Outdoorama is this weekend. Am I going? I'm going to MUCC's convention on Saturday. If we get a break, I will probably jump out and make a quick cruise around Outdoorama, but I'm not going specifically to Outdoorama. I am going to MUCC's convention. It's going to be a very interesting convention because we will get a feel for where MUCC is going. Unfortunately, we won't be meeting MUCC's new executive director. Well, I got to get a timer ready here. Countdown timer. Otherwise, John will be giving me hand signals. He will anyway. 12 minutes. Okay. Our first segment is 12 minutes. And in like 45 seconds or so, I'm going to shift my focus from doing this live stream. There's your bear brats. And these, Charlie Rude just came in, Nick. He's going to try some of your bear sticks. I will record the first segment of this week's radio show. Now, you are more than welcome to stick around, but I can't directly interact with you as I am now. 7, 6, 4,
3, 2, 1.
blast off. Okay. Outdoor driven booth. Yes. Morning, Jerry. How are you? Billy. I didn't even get time. Lots of deer. You're right. I didn't get time. Well, here's who's coming up on the show. Mike Smith, Dan Cook, Chad Stewart, Caitlin Boone, Tom Lounsbury, and Dixie Dave. No sandhills yet, just lots of deer. They're in Pawpaw now. That blew up about the CEO. Yes, it did. I gotcha. All right, my friends. I've got to change my focus from my social media microphone to my official broadcast microphone. I will not be able to answer your questions directly, but I'll be back tonight, 7 o'clock. Have a good day. Indeed, this is the big guy, Mike Avery. Welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on great radio stations across our great state of Michigan. And as always, so glad to have you along with us as we continue to work our way through this winter. We continue to work our way towards springtime. Now, listen, I shouldn't be wishing the wintertime away. I realize there are indeed many people who love the winters here in Michigan. But I'm kind of looking forward to springtime. And with the weather the way it has been this last week or so, to be honest, don't you find yourself thinking about springtime? Even if you are a hardcore ice fisherman, a hardcore skier, a hardcore snowmobiler, aren't you maybe just a little bit leaning towards springtime with maybe just a little bit of spring fever? Come on, it's okay. It's okay to admit it. I've had spring fever for weeks now. I certainly admit to that. So what do I always say is one of the first signs that spring is moving our direction here in Michigan? It's the dead skunk in the road. I always say, in my world, okay? Now, listen, this is unscientific, it's anecdotal, but it's in my world. That first dead skunk to me is like, oh, it stinks, but it's almost a sweet smell because I know what's coming up. Last Sunday, saw the first dead skunk with my own eyes. I'd had reports of him, but I saw the first dead skunk with my own eyes. And I wanted to stop because I always stop and take some pictures of that first dead skunk and I post it. But this one was on the freeway, and unfortunately, it was right on a curve. And I thought, if we stop so I can get a picture of that skunk that got smucked by a car, we're going to get smucked by a car, and it's just not worth it. So I was not able to post pictures or video of that first dead skunk, but I saw him, and he's out there. The real sign of spring in my mind is when the red-winged blackbirds come back. We've got a pond behind the house, and I don't consciously realize when the red-winged blackbirds leave and that sound they make, that shrill sound they make. But when they come back, believe me, the first time I hear it, whatever I'm doing, I stop and I look around and go, okay, here's spring. The red-winged blackbirds are back. For some people, the real sign is when the sandhill cranes come back. I say that's also a very accurate sign of spring. The one thing I don't go along with is robins. Our state bird, the robin. Why do we have a state bird that most of them abandon us during wintertime? Why do we have a state bird that most of them fly south for the winter? Shouldn't we have a state bird that sticks around here and enjoys the wintertime with us? But the reason I don't trust robins is because they don't all fly south. I've seen robins 11 months a year. So I've seen robins in January. So seeing a robin's like, yeah, okay, there's a robin. I shouldn't diss robins, but I do. I diss robins. So ice and snow. We've lost a lot of snow. We've lost some ice with this thaw, with the rain. As I'm sitting here in the studio now, looking out the window, looking out the window. It's really raining and it's pretty warm. And it's cutting a lot of snow and it's cutting ice. I reached out and realized this is Wednesday, okay? We always time shift on this show. It is not live. So by the time you hear the broadcast version this weekend, this information will be a little bit old already. But I reached out to Captain Jason Graham of Send It Charters on Saginaw Bay. And I said, Jason, how is the ice holding up on Saginaw Bay? And he said, well, yesterday it was still okay. He said, but I haven't been out there now after the rain. So be cautious, be careful, use your, I'm not one of those people who says the ice is never safe. Like the Coast Guard used to. That used to drive me crazy. Coast Guard Station, Saginaw River, don't go out on the ice. The ice is never safe. In the meantime, there were 5,000 anglers on the ice in front of the Coast Guard Station. Well, you lose a lot of credibility when you make statements like that, when you look out there and see, obviously, the ice can indeed be safe. But it can also be dangerous. So just, use your wits. Last week here on the show, I talked about baiting. I talked about the NRC, and I talked about our state legislature. And I said that as much as I would like baiting to come back, and I suspect it will, I don't want it to happen because of our state legislature. I don't want politicians deciding our fish and game laws, even though they have the power, they have the authority to do it. I don't think it's a good idea. I would rather such decisions come from the NRC, the Natural Resources Commission. And a lot of people said to me, Avery, you're being naive because the NRC is a very political body. Well, I'm not being naive. I understand that the NRC is a very political body. The Natural Resources Commission, those commissioners are appointed by the governor. So, of course, it is political. And I am not a big fan of our NRC the last couple of years. I don't think they have been friends of Michigan hunters and anglers. 2 examples. When they said that the perception of a year-round coyote hunt to non-hunters was one of the reasons they originally banned year-round coyote hunting. That's, don't make decisions on optics, okay? That's when I started to get a little hinky about our Michigan Natural Resources Commission. So I've been following them quite closely the last couple of years, and I will be honest. I wouldn't know them, any of the commissioners, except for Becky Humphreys, because I knew her when she was a biologist at the Gratiot-Saginaw Game Area years and years ago. I wouldn't know an NRC commissioner if they came up to me on the street. I suspect that all of them individually are very good people. But as a whole, as a body, as a group, I don't think they've been friends of Michigan hunters and anglers like they should be. Another example of that. Last summer, there was supposed to be a meeting in Bay City, and not enough of the commissioners showed up to get a quorum to vote on things. So you're telling me that you don't take our Michigan hunting and fishing laws and policies and the administration of seriously enough that enough of you will show up to have a meeting? So no, I'm not naive. I understand that the NRC is a political body. They are appointed by the governor, which is wrong. I think that's just wrong. So am I a big fan of the Michigan Natural Resources Commission recently? No. Do I hope that maybe they can do things differently in the future? Yes. Am I optimistic that'll happen? I think optimism would be too strong of a statement. But even so, I would rather have the NRC, the Natural Resources Commission, make those decisions instead of our state legislature, our politicians. If the NRC would do the job that they are supposed to do, that they are charged with doing, and I'll use the example of baiting for whitetails, if they would do that, if they would make that decision and open it back up, then people wouldn't be going to the politicians and asking the politicians to do it. The politicians are only doing it because their constituents ask them to do it. Politicians do one thing. They get votes to stay in office. And if enough people go to the politicians and complain about it, the politicians will take some action. That's probably not the way we should do our fish and game laws. The NRC, if they did it according to the way they should do it, they would listen to the DNR, they would listen to the constituents, and they would make a decision based on sound scientific wildlife management practices. Have they been doing that? Not necessarily. Have they been doing a better job of it than what I think the legislature will do? In my opinion, yes. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not naive enough to think that the NRC is some high and mighty organization filled with scientists and biologists who have the ultimate goal of our fish and game laws and protecting our resources and doing the most for Michigan hunters and anglers. No. Should they? Yes. Do they? Not necessarily. Events coming up. Outdoorama is this weekend it used to be the Novi Expo Center and then the Suburban Collection Showplace. I don't even know what it's called now. I'm not going to try to keep track of it. That is this weekend along with and in conjunction with MUCC's convention. It's going to be a very interesting convention, or as you're hearing this maybe on Sunday, it was an interesting convention. More on that next week. Saturday, March 7th, our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor. That's kind of cumbersome, though. If you would like tickets, send me an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, and I will hook you up. Our next Wednesday night live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch, the Forward Corporation Lumberjack Restaurant, Wednesday, April 15th. That's tax day. We'll start taking reservations for that on March 1st. Coming up on this week's show after the break, Mike Smith. I'm going to talk to Mike about an ice fishing adventure he had on Lake Erie. Compare that to Saginaw Bay. Then Dan Cook from the Michigan Wildlife Council with an update on their Here for Generations campaign. In our second hour, DNR wildlife biologist Chad Stewart on the recent moose research done in the Yup. We'll also get a wrap-up of the deer season. Then Caitlin Boone talks about the Master Angler program. She answers this week's Ask Avery question from a viewer. And in our third hour, veteran outdoorsman Tom Lounsbury on all things outdoors in Michigan. And we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. My name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website, mikeaveryoutdoors.com. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Okay, my friends, I wanted to work that in there about the NRC and the DNR because I posted an excerpt from that on my social media and got a lot of response to it, and I will post this as well. Truck Trolley, good morning, Truck Trolley. How are you, Andy? Nice to have you along with us. Truck Trolley, wonderful Michigan-based family-owned product. And I might be getting a new truck, and I'll have to transfer my truck trolley to I will be getting a new truck, to my new truck. Tom, checking the ice, Tamarack Lake. Shore ice 5 to 6, 7 to 11. Lance Valentine, good morning. How are you? Outdoor Driven, giving away a truck trolley at Outdoorama this weekend. I invited Andy to be at our Trinity Monitor dinner, but he has plans. All right, my friends, have a great day. I've got to go. I've got to move on to the next segment of the show. I'll be back tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. In the meantime, have a great day.